In this video, I'm going to show you how to exploit an authentication bypass vulnerability in polkit. I'm using Ubuntu 20.04 for this demo, but the same vulnerability also affects other distributions that use polkit such as Fedora. Polkit is the system service that is running under the hood when you see a dialog box like this. It's essentially a kind of judge. If you ask a different service, in this case the accounts service, to do something that requires higher privileges, then polkit acts as the judge that decides whether or not you are allowed to do it. For some kinds of requests it will make an instant decision to allow or deny, and for others it will pop up one of these dialog boxes so that an administrator can authorize it. The dialog box gives the impression that polkit is a graphical thing, but it's actually a background process. The dialog box is known as an authentication agent, and it's really just a mechanism for sending your password to polkit. I can demonstrate that with a command line application called pkexec. It's very similar to sudo. It allows you to run a command as root. Now you can see that it popped up the same dialog box. But if I use SSH to log into a text mode session and run pkexec again, then you can see that pkexec has started its own text mode authentication agent instead. Okay, so that was a quick introduction to polkit, and now it's time to run the exploit. I've got a little cheat sheet here so you don't have to watch me typing out all these long commands. I'm going to use this command called dboss-send, which allows you to do a lot of the same things from the command line that you can do with the settings dialog box. This command asks the account service to create a new user called Boris, but it gets instantly denied because creating a new user requires administrator privileges and it can't pop a dialog box because I'm still in the SSH session that I started earlier. The vulnerability is triggered by killing the dboss-send command before it's finished. I'm going to do that by tacking this bit on the end, which kills the command after 7 milliseconds. You might need to experiment a bit to find a delay that works well. Now let's see if the account was created already. No, not yet. It doesn't always work first time because the timing is a bit non-deterministic, but it usually succeeds after a few tries. Let's check again. Excellent, I'm in. The next thing that I have to do is set a password. The dboss method expects a hash rather than a plain text password, so I'm using OpenSSL to generate a hash. Now I just have to paste that hash into the second dboss-send command in my cheat sheet. This second dboss-send command is also supposed to require administrator privileges, so I'm exploiting the vulnerability a second time to get it to succeed. With a bit of luck that will have worked, so now I'm going to try to log in as Boris. The password is I am invincible. Yes! I made Boris an administrator when I created the account, so that means that I can now get a root shell. So that's about it. I've written a blog post with more details about this vulnerability, which you can read at securitylab.github.com/research.